following podcast may contain some adult language. You've been warned.
Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
Welcome to Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast. This is a show dedicated to the Genesys role-playing system from Fantasy Flight Games, a show in which we, your hosts, discuss all things Genesys from both a player's and a GM's perspective. I am Tony Fanning, and with me, as always, is my homie and your own Christopher Holmes. How's it cooking, Chef Homie?
Dude, I still smell like smoke, man. Smoked me some bratwurst tonight on my grill, and gonna go over to my buddy Kyle's house tomorrow night to play Gloomhaven, and we'll be cooking a chuck roast tomorrow. Gonna be smoking it all day.
Dude, your food stories have become so infamous that we have nerds from all over the world wanting to move to your house.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah. Daryl, Jamie, me.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, hey, maybe I'm kind of playing to the German crowd with the bratwurst, smoking the bratwurst or whatever. But anyways, yeah, mouth is watering. And I must say, man, with our news that just came out yesterday, my mouth is watering as well. And you have something written here in our show notes. What is that?
Holy fuck balls, Gen Con.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a little bit of news last night.
Just a wee bit smidge.
So at the in-flight briefing, I'm sure it's made it around the community to most everyone, but if you only listen to our podcast and don't pay attention to news anywhere else...
We're sorry if you do.
Yes. There is some new stuff coming down the pipe.
Oh, yeah.
In Q4 this year, we have the Expanded Player's Guide, which will include more careers, more talents. It has setting treatments like in the original core book, has setting treatments for horror, for classic myth, and for...
post-apocalyptic was one, right?
Post-apocalypse, yes.
Okay. Oh, so it's just going to be what they've done in the core book. They've just added a few more. Okay.
Yep, that's cool. Expanded Player's Guide. Mm-hmm. Then, same time that comes out, also in Q4 this year.
Yeah.
What everyone's been asking for, a GM screen.
Nice. And Jamie made a comment that it's landscape size.
Yep.
Which is, I prefer that. Thank you, FFG.
It's a 3-panel landscape pattern.
Cool.
Excellent, or maybe 4-panel. I don't know. Couldn't see the art very well because their audio visual died.
Oh, really?
And they have they said they had a really good presentation for the next thing they announced, which is our next setting book, due in Q2 next year.
Yeah.
Keyforge.
Sweet. You and I played the card game a couple times.
Yeah, it's
there's some fiction there on their website.
There's a ton of fiction to it. Yeah,
is there really? Well, cool.
So it looks to be interesting. I'm sure it's not what everyone wanted to hear. I have heard a few other rumors that were out on the floor at Gen Con that only things have been passed around that FFG is also has things on their list of settings, and Tannhauser and Twilight Imperium and a couple others are on their list. Yes, good. Of things to do. So those are coming. Just no idea when.
I just hope they, there are other cons besides Gen Con to announce this stuff at. You got Gary Con in February. You've got Con and Cobb. If you guys want to drop something else, that's coming up in a few months.
Yeah, we'll gladly host.
Nudge.
We'll gladly host an event.
Yeah, there's Con in the North up here, in Minnesota. Come on, guys, in the spring. And then you said that you have a bullet on here called Marvel Live. What is it?
Living card game.
Game.
Yeah, LCG. They're doing Marvel Champions, which again, I'm a big superheroes guy.
Mm-hmm.
Love superhero stuff. Their LCGs have all been good. I mean, that's where we got Android from. That's where we got they've got the L5R card game, and I taught you how to play that. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was kind of a brain burner a little bit too, man. That was a little complicated, but once we got into it, that was pretty fun. Yeah, I like that one.
And now they're going to be launching a Marvel LCG, which if they're getting the Marvel license for games, who knows? Maybe we'll get some Genesis treatment too. Never know.
Maybe a superhero source book.
Now, probably won't see it as a Genesis thing. We'll probably see it as mimicking Star Wars, its own line.
I see. Okay.
I can see that.
Work. Okay, that could work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's also this small little thing out there called the Genesis Foundry they mentioned too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dudes. That's for everybody out there, man. That's great.
This was the biggest piece of news all of us fans have been waiting for.
Yep.
A place to sell your fan-generated content.
Yep.
Now, there's some questions online as to the license and how it works, and there's some legality issues that need to be ironed out. So don't jump out and try to publish your stuff right away, because right now it says if you publish it, you don't own it.
Gotcha.
And but it does basically in one place it says if you publish it here, if it's not for Terranoth or Android, it has to be a setting you own.
Got it.
And you retain those rights. But then in another place it tells you they own everything that you publish. So and can do whatever they want with it. So it's
so if you want to hold on to your IP, your intellectual property on these things, do your homework. I'm not a legal guy. I really couldn't give any advice, but do your homework on it. Definitely.
I'm sure it was a rush to get this uploaded after the briefing from Gen Con. They had a lot of technical issues with their in-flight briefing.
Yep.
I honestly think that they probably just missed it in the fine print and are going to go in and fix it. Because FFG's been real good about making sure that they're the people that came out, and that's just it. The Foundry opened yesterday, and there's already 20 or 19 different documents up there.
Yeah.
For people to get, including some that we've seen before that we've even highlighted in on our show, which is like Scott Zumwalt.
Yep.
The Inquisition setting. There's a little work, Ready Adversaries Adversaries by Sterling Hershey.
Yeah.
Keith Capel did this great supplement called Ready Fight, which is hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, and it even has a setting treatment for a wrestling setting inside.
There you go, Uncle J. Raz. Get it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and
all you luchadors out there.
It's all available on DriveThruRPG. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Oh, finally some news.
Right, and unfortunately, Stefan wasn't here today to read it.
Unfortunately, not.
Because then we would have gotten all that French-Canadian excitement out of him.
Yes, indeedy. But he's home feeding feeding maple syrup to his Canadian hamsters. Get that internet thing going.
Yeah, where he lives in rural Canada, the internet gets real splotchy this time of year because it's tourist season. So we're hoping to get him.
Yeah, everybody who's camping is on the internet. Stay off the frickin' internet if you go camping, people. Come on.
Quit handing your kids the iPad.
Exactly.
Hand them a ball and kick them out of the tent.
That's right. Don't you know that there's important people that need to do podcasts with us? Come on.
Hopefully he'll be back for the next show, and hopefully all of his issues will be ironed out after Labor Day. So,
what, all of his issues? All internet issues. Okay.
Internet issues. Yes.
We weren't even going to any of the other issues.
Oh no, that's a whole new ball of worms. But he's not here. He's not here to defend himself, so I wasn't going to go into that.
No. Love you, Stefan. See you soon, buddy. All right. So that's our news. And
that was a lot of news.
Yeah. Take a little breath. Okay, so a year from now, everybody, we'll have a lot more, too, again.
It was like finding an oasis in the desert.
Yep. I just want to go swimming now in all of this, in the Foundry. All right. So, yeah.
Check it out, folks. There's good stuff up there.
Oh, heck yeah. And more. And, yeah. This community, very talented. From the things, obviously, some of the stuff that we've highlighted, things we haven't even highlighted. Very talented, so excited. It's a great time to be a gamer, man. Yeah. Great time to be a gamer. All right. So listener feedback then.
Yeah, and since I read the news, buddy, you want to do the listener feedback?
Sure. Yeah, I know why, because you want me to try and pronounce this guy's last name. Have fun pronouncing his surname. Okay. Here we go. John Kormpopoulos. Kormpopoulos. All right, here we go.
It's Kerbopoulos.
Kerbopoulos? Sure.
Yeah.
Is it Kerbopoulos? Something like that.
Yeah.
So from John K, we have, hello, guys. First of all, let me congratulate you for the great work you are doing with the podcast! ! Appreciate that, buddy. That's awesome to hear. I love the way you discussed part of the system and then describe how you're implementing it into your setting. Yeah, that was one of our main things that we wanted to do with it. So, cool. Glad you realized that. I've started listening from episode 1, and I am now on episode 10, Talent Show Part 2. I'm thinking of playing a couple of one-shots with my group with pre-made characters to see how much the system works for us. In the first, horror-toned adventure, I want to have a psychic character who is sensitive to the otherworldly powers, but has minor to no control over his powers. Wow, that's cool. While checking several settings, I saw that the Something Strange setting has the Savvy archetype, which has a following ability. Oh, which, by the way, Something Strange is now on the Genesys Foundry, by the way. Mm-hmm. So the following ability, Insight. Once per session, your character may spend a story point as an incidental. If they do so, they learn a fear, strength, flaw, or desire from a target within short range. I thought that converting this to a talent and giving it to the psychic character would reflect nicely his abilities. Since I have zero experience with the system, I'm not sure if this is too weak or too strong for a Tier 1 talent. The thing that is fine, since it may have a strong benefit learning the aspect of a character's motivation, but it can only be used once per session and by spending a story point. Your help will be extremely valuable. Thank you. John Kormpopoulos. Have fun pronouncing the name. Yeah, we're having fun with it. Hopefully you're not offended. So you responded to him.
Yes, I did. I said, first of all, thanks for listening, as I always do.
Yeah.
Secondly, it was a great question. Mm-hmm. And the answer to his inquiry really kind of belongs in... it can be found in the second sentence of the Tier 2 paragraph describing when you're doing talent creation. And that is that Tier 2 is where talents start becoming more interesting. Second sentence is, we suggest putting talents on Tier 2 that change how your character is going to behave throughout an encounter. And so when you're dealing with social encounters or knowing someone's motivations, that's going to affect the entire encounter.
Definitely.
So the talent he would be creating fits in that category. Furthermore, the limiters that he's talking about of once per session and a story point, while they would seem to lower the tier by 1, the potential in a campaign for a player to interact with reoccurring NPCs and across multiple sessions and gain multiple boost dice, learning all of their motivations, and using them against them does exist. So I would keep it firmly in the tier 2. Now for a one shot, tier 1 is perfectly fine because you're not going to see it come up.
Right. I mean, coupling this with, I mean, if you know the fear or the flaw of a character, I think I was using I have a talent for Vlad in that Android setting where if you know that, you're doing an extra 3 strain to somebody. So it can become a bit powerful if you kind of combine it with other talents too. So tier 2 feels good to me. And like you said, yeah, the limiters on it once per session and spending a story point. I mean, those limits are kind of like the signature abilities from Star Wars almost, right? I mean, that's pretty cool.
And then he said, well, I'll maybe just make it once a session. And again, if you're just doing it for a one shot, you don't need to bother. Just keep it as is at a tier 1. It's perfectly fine.
Yep. Have them spend a story point for it. That's cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That works real well. So
definitely.
Oh, and one more thing, John. I had done a character that was an empath for my Deep Madness setting, and I completely forgot about this until Chris and I were talking about it. And I gave her empath was the species, and I gave her the Mind Reader special ability. Mind Reader, as an action, the empath may make an opposed discipline versus discipline check, targeting one living creature within medium range. If the check succeeds, the empath receives vague impressions of the target's current thoughts and emotional state. Handled narratively, of course. With 3 advantage or a triumph may be spent to discover hidden thoughts, memories, or motivations at the GM's discretion.
Cool.
So that's another one for you, possibly. You may want to look into that. And then I also gave her the Sense Emotions talent, which adds a boost die to all charm, coercion, and deception checks. So
sweet.
Simple enough.
Definitely.
So, John Karbopoulos, thank you for the email. We appreciate it. I only selected the one feedback because we gathered up so much cool news.
Exactly.
But we do have another show segment coming up.
Yes, we do.
Welcome to 50 Pieces of Awesome. Yeah. This is where Chris goes out on the interweb. He doesn't have to go far anymore. He can just go to the Genesis Foundry.
That's right.
And he finds something cool and points it out to us, talks about it, shares a link. What you got this week, buddy?
Oh, it's spooky gooky that I have today. It is Vampire the Masquerade Genesis conversion by Geki. This is pretty sweet, I must say, because I played Vampire the Masquerade back in early 90s, probably, short little campaign and whatever, and dude, we got like 35 pages of awesome here, with, each clan, you got your archetypes, which is basically your clan, right? So you got your Brujah, Gangrel, and whatever, but what I liked, what he did, added weaknesses to each one.
Nice.
It's kind of cool. So like the Brujah, right? Weakness, cold exterior, but I burn inside. Upgrade basically a difficulty to all rolls to resist frenzy. And then add 20% to the chart when you roll for frenzy. Now frenzy is a thing where if you don't have enough blood in you or vitae or whatever, when you kind of when you need to feed. And you don't, you're gonna go ape shit. So the Brujah, they have a little tougher time resisting that. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, and also the list of talents in here, they're restricted for your clan, right? So some of them are, so a lot of thought has gone into this, and we've got a lot of different clans here. Some I haven't remembered in so long either. Added some careers and skills and and whatnot. A nice career list and skills. Won't go into the details on that. But what I like is here's an example of like a tier 1 restricted talent for, say, Gangrel only. By suffering a strain, the Gangrel can enlarge your pupils and make them similar to those of nocturnal predators for one scene. This allows them to ignore penalties due to darkness. That's kind of cool. But only Gangrel can do it, right? So that's kind of cool. Loving the what they've done with discipline, making discipline, and of course disciplines from the game. You have every clan has their own disciplines that they're, associated with, and of course using the discipline skill, it makes sense there. But making the ranks cost more is interesting. So it wasn't specifically clear spelled out in this document, but I did go to the thread and asked a couple questions about if you have, say, 2 ranks in discipline, which costs 20 XP, 10 XP for level rank 1, 20 XP for 2. Say the animalism. If you have the animalism discipline, if you have 2 ranks in it, you get feral whispers and beckoning. These 2 discipline abilities, just kind of extra abilities there. And some of these automatically add, like, upgrade checks, which is cool for some of this stuff. There's also special rules for damage and strain because, you're vampires and people shouldn't kill you as easy unless you're in sunlight and stuff like that. And then rules for strain or for feeding and frenzy, which is interesting. So.
Yes. Oh. Stop pounding.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry. I'm sorry about that, everybody. It was getting annoying. You should say it earlier.
I just noticed it.
Did you? Well, people was noticing it earlier. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
This is not a professional podcast, is it? Nah.
We should be by now. We've been doing it so long.
That's true. That is true. But some of this frenzy, right? So you have to make a discipline check if you have lost your vitae or whatever you call that. And you can, let's see, rage, like exploding, but the Cainite only wants to eliminate, not escape the cause of the exception of sun, fire. Moreover, the additional check can only be triggered by spending a story point. I don't know. This is pretty cool.
It's really well done.
Pretty well done. And then, of course, there's magic. There's also added magic. Oh, there's like blood magic, necromancy, and making these checks, man. If you're gonna use magic in this Vampire the Masquerade, some things just start at a challenge die. Mm-hmm. So, like, taste of blood, determine crucial information of a subject by tasting their blood. That's 1 red die. That's kind of cool.
I really like the way he laid it out with the XP costs and the automatic upgrades, and it's well done.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done.
No, I think this is from a much later version of Vampire, because there's, like you said, clans that, death magic from the days of Pharaoh's priests and Anubis and the Ways. That must be a thing that they added later. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I remember the thaumaturgy from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I was there at Gen Con when they released the first Vampire the Masquerade, and I was like, oh my god, this game is amazing, because all we had prior to that was D20 games.
Yep.
Didn't have anything that just used a pool of dice. They introduced the dice pool, to which Genesys uses, and that concept was introduced with this system. The storyteller system, and at least as far as I know, maybe WEG with the dice pool for Star Wars probably was first, but now that I think about it, because that had been around before. So yeah, I'm wrong. I just didn't play.
Maybe even Warhammer too. Warhammer might have too, with all that, the miniatures war-playing game.
That's true. So, okay, so I'm full of shit.
But at least you're not banging on the table.
It was the first one I ever saw.
There you go. Yep.
So, at I think it was Gen Con 91 or 92 is when that came out. And long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I was still in college.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was getting ready to head off into the Marine Corps.
Oh, there you go. College of life there. College of the world there. All right.
But just so you know, we loved what you did, Gecky, and we would like to award you 50 pieces of awesome. Don't spend them all in one place.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. You can open up. We are in the Books of Genesis section of the show. Oh, and the name of the name of the episode is Extra Spicy.
That's right. What adds flavor to your games?
That's right. More than tones and tropes. You can go to your core rulebook, page 241. And we're going to talk about the tones and how to use them in your setting, in your adventures. Some of these you don't want to use all the time, but sprinkling them in through a campaign makes it come alive a little more, I would think.
Oh, yeah. And especially if you're going with one of these tones to keep it for the entire campaign.
Oh, yeah.
It creates a certain type of game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what we're talking about horror or intrigue or mystery, pulp, which, by the way, the name of pulp, I didn't realize that until I read this again. The books that was back in the early 1900s when we were, writing all those pulp stories were written on wood pulp paper, hence the name pulp, which that's kind of cool. Learn something new every day. And we'll get into that. And we'll get into all that. We're not going to be covering supers, though, because we're going to save that for later on, another show specifically, because, Tony loves superheroes and being them and playing them and running them and killing them and whatever. So we're going to...
Who kills? What?
Yeah, why not? Why not? If you're DM, right? GM, DM. All right. So using tones, like we said, you can, use them throughout a campaign to kind of give it a feel. Like I'm playing and this isn't necessarily Genesis specific either. I mean, you can take these tips to any one of your games. For instance, on Friday nights, I have a buddy of mine running 5e, a high level campaign with the 5e, D Shift 7D game, and that feels very pulpy and high fantasy kind of, right? And even what you ran for us in our setting that we created, Primordial Machina, that very pulpy, right? And I'm also playing. So another campaign I'm playing in is a Warhammer campaign, which can get some bit of intrigue in there and some mystery and even some horror, if you will, too. So doesn't necessarily have to be Genesis or whatever, but you can go between all kinds of different tones that you can use. So.
And and multiple settings can do different tones. So by adding some of these tones to existing games, for instance, I'll take the example of Tannhauser. Let's take the existing Tannhauser Weird Wars setting.
Yep.
That has already got some horror elements to it, but by doubling down on the horror, you could totally have a great small campaign, one shot that's really dark and gritty. And but then also in that same setting, you could do a political intrigue of a hidden threat in the halls of the Senate, or you could do a mystery in that, and during the wars, something going on in a war-torn city.
Yeah, you can even pull in romance and drama too, right? Because the soldiers went over there. They probably met others in, like, say, the French Resistance and whatever, right? They're over there for months on end in Britain. Maybe they got close. Maybe they even got married while they're there, and then they have to now all of a sudden go off to war.
Young men far away from their families for the first time in their lives.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like in what that show, The Pacific, too. There was, I don't know if you've watched that or not. They pulled in a bit of that too. So yeah, you could pull on some of those tropes and tones, if you will.
Yeah.
So,
now, what's the difference between a trope and a tone? Because that's important.
Well, for me, a trope would be, it's something that is kind of common and just kind of happens, like the evil bad guy monologuing. That's a trope, right? I mean, that could be something.
A great trope example would be in Star Wars. If you shoot something, it does shooting the door controls. If you want the door to open, it opens the door. If you wanted it to lock the door, it locks the door.
Again. Right. Yeah, you just choose.
That's a trope in that setting. Mm-hmm. So tropes are basically assumptions on how the world works.
There you go.
And so tones, however, are how it feels. How to get that feeling from the setting or from the one shot. And
that, to me, that trope feels very pulpy to me. Right? I mean, that if you want to compare it, if you want to go with it that way.
Yeah, no, that would be that particular trope. The Star Wars one is what makes it, science fantasy. It has pulp elements to it.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool.
All right, so let's get into them.
All right. Well, if you would like to introduce the first one, the horror one, feel free, because of you've created your own set of special rules for this type of tone.
All right. Well, a great introduction into these is the little blurb that they have at the beginning of each chapter,
in the red
each
text
section.
There. Yep, in the red text there.
So I'm going to read this because I think it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
They found Paulie exactly where the encrypted message said he would be, shackled in a hollow guy's room. But his back had been carved with odd, freshly dripping icons that looked like a neural net diagram. When he said it was Kale who had imprisoned him, they grew still. They remembered months ago when they had stopped her from stealing the bleeding edge Corp Tech, stopped her with a hail of flechette fire, and watched her die screaming for revenge.
Oh, yeah, dude. Ooh, that's chilly, man. That makes it. That sends the chills up the spine. Because is Paulie going slightly insane, or did he really see Kale, and did Kale survive, or is Kale an undead, monster? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, this harkens to something like Dead Space or something like that, where you have this this futuristic setting, but it has a dark horror bent. And Aliens comes to mind anytime I think of futuristic horror.
Yeah.
But so horror themed games are simply that. They're scary. And not necessarily do you're going to sit around with the candles lit and you're going to tell scary stories. It's supposed to invoke that spine-tingling feel of, oh crap, what the hell's going on? You should feel kind of like you're on the edge of your seat throughout the whole thing.
And they do describe it as being kind of a roller coaster ride. Horror is where you kind of have those peaks and valleys of, the suspense and the twists and the what's kind of going on here, and some of the tone or the themes in horror, like I had mentioned. Oh, is this Kale person back from the undead? That's kind of a supernatural, demonic possession kind of theme that you can find in horror horror adventures and such, too.
Or you can find that man versus man horror, like you said, with the is Paulie really just going insane?
Yeah, is it more of an internal kind of going nuts? Yeah.
And you can even play on the man versus machine horror, like I did in my Android game that I ran for you guys, where those horror themes of holy crap, we have a Bioroid player, and here's all these Bioroids getting hacked left and right and attacking people and going insane. And for a while there, Jamie playing his Bioroid was sitting there going, when the fuck is this going to happen to me? Holy shit.
Exactly. And it wasn't until one of the last sessions when one of your NPCs turned to my guy, Vlad, who's kind of like the leader of our kind of group, being the lead investigator, is like, what are you doing with this guy? You just told me Bioroids. When is he going to get hacked? And Vlad was like, oh shit, you're right. Nah, he's going to be okay. He's fine. So yeah, and it is one of those things. It is a slippery slope, though. Using horror, using violence and grotesque horrors, body parts, those kinds of things. You got to know your audience. You got to know your gaming group. Like for me, on my Saturday night group, Tuesday night groups, not a problem. Friday night group, no. We have a couple of 10-year-olds that play with us, so you got to really got to kind of watch it there. And too much of this. Like I like this this sidebar here, the real versus fun horror, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you want to go into that a little bit? Yeah. So player ages should be a factor and such. As
with any of these tones, you have to boilerplate. You have to have that adult conversation before the game. You're not just. Sorry, but I could tell you right now, my gaming group, like you said, not just horror. My gaming group, no problem with horror. I can get as vile as I want to. In fact, we've run evil campaigns where they were taking pages right out of the Book of Vile Darkness, and no problem with that.
But you wouldn't want to create an adventure like that and bring it to a con and have people come join your game, or even at your friendly local gaming store for a night. Oh, let me introduce Genesys to you. Oh, I've got this killer horror game, and yeah, you gotta watch it. Gotta just be smart.
And likewise, none of those people, including even Jen, is really interested in playing a romance story.
Yeah.
So again, know your audience.
Yep. And I think that, I think we have it here. It kind of creates, it tells like how to run horror-themed games.
And that's just read it.
Yeah, just basically read it. It's not bad. And I know we had, what do you call it? Somebody just sent in a question about horror and those kinds of aspects. It's not deadly enough or whatever. Well, you could pull in things like these fear checks, right? Now make a discipline check, which will make it harder for them, for later on in the encounter, or even for the rest of the session, depending. And then if they score like what do you call it, like a whole bunch of threat or some despair, give them a trauma, give them like some mental trauma. And again, that's also a touchy subject, right? Mental illnesses and such for folks out there. You just gotta, again, know your audience, and it's all about having fun, really. If it'll be more fun, if you think it'll be more fun, if your players think it'll be more fun, then do it.
Yeah. And if these rules here that they give you aren't robust enough for you for a Lovecraftian style horror, I did do my Genesys sanity rules, and those are still available on our MeWe page. They're still available on our Facebook page. Just scroll around, you'll find them. So
coolness.
That's pretty much it for horror.
Yeah. So that's horror. So we're going to move on to the next one. Intrigue.
Yeah.
The Queen Goddess and the Chancellor's self-incriminating letter into the King's war room. We proudly displayed the evidence. Silence. The king declared the letter his master plan to reveal any enemy spies and said our interception had destroyed it. Worst, he ordered us and the queen arrested for taking a letter from a diplomatically protected pouch. As we were led away, his smile told us more. It was a trap set for us, not any spy. The queen's faction couldn't stop him now. Yeah, dude, that's Game of Thrones shit there. Right? I mean, that's intrigue. That's good stuff. And you pulled a bit of intrigue into our Android game that you ran too, between, Haas Bayreuth, Jinteki, just all that intrigue kind of going on at that time. Makes for an interesting play for sure.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Political intrigue, underhanded dealings, black market handlings, shifting alliances. You encourage your players to develop real robust backgrounds for this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You want to have a little bit of backstory to them if you're going to do an intrigue, because you want to pull those elements forward. Secrets are important in an intrigue game. Yep,
and having their motivations fleshed out as well would be good too, because and you might want to get spun up on the social encounter rules too, because there's going to be a lot of that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a very highly social game, and a lot of players really enjoy that.
Absolutely.
One particular game that makes me think of this kind of intrigue and where it would come into play is if you're doing like a Genesys, which there is a Genesys L5R conversion out there, playing in L5R.
Oh yeah.
Where combat is rare in civilized society, usually dealt with in a duel, but there's a ton of political intrigue, and this tone really invokes that setting to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you have like your royal court, factions in the court kind of pulling back and forth. And you also have you can also have like criminal organizations pulling, vying for control too. Like you can have something like Los Scorpiones versus the Trimoff in the Android setting, right? And then coupled with that, you also have the NYPD there too. And all that kind of can be interrelated and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And what's interesting here, I like this under the criminal intrigue features illegal dealings. This is on the intrigue page. What page was that? 245. And one of the things is you should have 3 levels for criminal intrigue that you would want to think about for your characters. Their relationship with like their immediate associates and their boss. The reputation your character has among the general public, and their relationship with law enforcement. Are they wanted? Do the law even know they're a criminal? Are they an informant? Those kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
Those are nice little tidbits they have in here for that. So
yeah, reputation is an important thing in an intrigue game, whether it's political intrigue or criminal intrigue. Mm-hmm. But that all works really well. You could even do, now this is just spitballing here, but you could do even a corporate intrigue game.
Oh yeah,
where your players are working for these mega corporations in a futuristic setting, and totally could do just corporate and not criminal. Mm-hmm. And everything's on the up and up except for these underhanded corporate deals that are going on, because there's always those going on. I mean, all corporations are corrupt.
Yeah.
So, the totally is a third level there that you could do.
Yep. And they go into a nice list of these points of intrigue, the character's viable strengths that can be used against rivals, and again, those are the motivations, and have a lot of those things ironed out. Did you read this? Go ahead.
playing an intrigue game is not for one-word motivations. You have to have your motivations fully fleshed out with a paragraph each so that the GM can really pull at those things and use them.
Yeah. And you have to buy in, and your characters, your players, you got to buy into it too. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do, and if you just want to be murder hobos, well, maybe an intrigue game isn't quite what you want to be playing, but
oops. And GMs, secret weaknesses for NPCs always have that little thread that the players can pull out with some triumph or with have something, oh, this guy happens to be into, foot porn or whatever. He's got a shoe fetish. Who knows?
Yeah.
Whatever weakness or vice that you can give someone and pull at that, even if you're just doing it for one encounter and you want an intrigue, one session intrigue or an encounter, make sure you look these over because these bullet points are really good here on page 246.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yep. Visible strengths as well,
Here's a good one. How far will this character go to get what they want? Every character should have limits, and you, as a GM, are obligated to push those limits, right? Because that's what's fun. Yeah.
Yep. And so when you put those elements into an intrigue game, you put those little notes into your adversaries, and players put them on their character sheets. It allows for this new rule here on page 246 to really shine.
Yep.
And it's called the Major Revelation. Major Revelation appears. You can use this rule to see if your PCs recognize how important something is. One PC should make an average knowledge or negotiation or perception check, depending on what best fits the situation. If this check is successful, the PC sees a way to use this revelation to their advantage, and the group upgrades the ability of checks related to this revelation. If they fail, they misread the situation. So there's a big penalty for failure here.
That's right.
And they automatically upgrade the difficulty of all checks instead.
Right. Yeah, and this is like for the rest of the session, right? And so if you make this major reveal and they just don't get it, it'll be a little tougher for the rest of the session. So that could be fun to play with, man. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. What do we have for the next one? Yeah, that's intrigue.
Mystery begins on page 246, and it begins with this. They broke into the starship's bridge, only to find the captain and ambassador both dead. Their course brings them back to Earth in just 72 hours. In a ship with 50 passengers and crew, can they solve the murders before the killer vanishes amongst Earth's teeming masses?
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, so this is murder on the Starship Express, right? Like, yeah. So there's your mystery puzzles.
Mysteries are great for one shots. Again,
absolutely.
Why? Because it is just like that. Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
It's a train. It's not going anywhere.
That's right. And
it moves at the speed of plot.
You know it, dude. And hey, I threw a murder mystery right in the middle of a campaign. Just had nothing to do with the campaign at all. They come to this town, and one of the characters was framed for it. Yes.
That's a great one-shot or middle of the campaign idea. Yeah.
Yeah. It freshened. It made the campaign fresh again. It spiced it up a little bit. Gave them a break. From the normal. Oh, we're gonna go get a dungeon. No, you're not, because Bale is in jail. Yeah, and I use that a lot.
Yeah. There are entire television channels dedicated to mystery, so you can't say that it doesn't have some importance. Dedicated to true crime, solving a mystery it's almost in everyone's nature.
Yeah,
and players see it as a challenge when they can pit themselves against the GM and solve the murder, or solve the mystery.
That's right.
Android is a great setting for mysteries.
Dude, you kicked off that campaign, that little mini campaign with a mystery. It was a murder mystery. No intrigue, no nothing. It was a murder mystery. You're like, hey, yep, you show up on the scene. Girl's dead. Go. It was great. It was great.
Yep. Yeah. So, mystery can be a great change of pace for adult campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less violence. If you're finding your players are constantly spamming the same attack over and over, they're getting bored with combat.
Yep. Yeah. Spice it up.
Spice it up. Next adventure, give them a murder mystery, or
and
give them.
Yeah. And if one of your, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but just popped into my head here. If one of your players can't make it, kidnap your character. Mm-hmm. Hold him for ransom, baby. That's the session right there. Right?
The drow got him.
The drow got him. That's right. Draxel's got the fucker, right? So there's that. And I must say, on this list of questions when you're creating this crime, was it 247? It says to invent the actual mystery, you need to invent the crime. And just answer these questions. Like 9, 10, 11 questions here. Who carried out the crime? Why did they do it? How did they do it? Where did they do it? What did they do it with? The clue game, right? And right? Oh, sorry, I'm hitting the table too, aren't I? Just speak up, Tony. Say, shut up, Chris. Stop banging the table.
I love waving my fist in front of the camera so you can see it.
Who are the victims? Did the perpetrator know them? Who are the witnesses, if any? What will the perpetrator do? And what are the flaws in the plan? What went wrong during the crime? I mean, this evokes so much. These are cool.
Now, one thing that I'll say, what really leads to a good mystery is a good location.
Okay.
There was this little note here on the paragraph above those questions. Locations also contribute to the theme. Classic whodunit thrillers isolate a group of characters in a house, on a train, on a starship, prevents anyone from leaving. This limits the pool of suspects as well as increasing the suspense. But murder mysteries can happen anywhere, but a murder at a society function feels very different than a knifing in a back alley. So, not very many people are going to want to find out why that corpse is laying in an alley. No way. But why is the corpse sitting at a high society dinner? That's,
with his head and his caviar or whatever? Yeah.
Nope. So I once had a pretty boring Eberron campaign going. And my players were invited to a high society dinner with one of the members of the guild houses. They have the guild houses there.
Love that setting.
He was seated at the head of his table and just sitting there, and everyone was moving into the room, and they all gathered around the table, and his butler made everybody sit down and everything like that. And the butler, everybody sits down, everybody's waiting for their host to speak, and the butler walks over and shakes him like, "Sir, you can wake up." And when he shakes him, the guy's head fell off his shoulders.
Oh. Were you running this or were you playing in it?
I ran it.
You ran it? Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, totally. Oh, my God. Here's a mystery. Why is our host dead?
Why is his head not attached to his body?
Oh, yeah. That was an important detail. Yes.
Yeah, you know it. Oh, which, by the way, Keith Baker is creating another source book for Eberron 5th edition. Just to let you guys know. Nice. I love that setting.
Yeah, I do too. But so your scene is important. The scene of your tone. I look at my Android game. When you guys started off that mystery, it was okay. You got hired. You arrived at a scene. You've got cops cordoning off the scene. You've got rain coming down. Yeah. You've got a garbage truck with a corpse underneath it. And go.
Yeah.
And I didn't just describe it that simply. I gave you guys all kinds of detail of the scene.
Yes, you did.
As much detail as you can reveal in that initial go sets that scene for the players and gives them that the heck is going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this last paragraph for this section is something
this is one of your favorite things.
This is one of my favorite things. They've even put it in here. Thank you, FFG. You'll also get help from the players' theories about what is going on. Pay attention, as they also let you know how well you are conveying the information. Yeah, I mean, if the PC's theories are afield from what they actually happen, you may want to clarify some clues or let them go. It just doesn't matter. Let them follow the red herring, but know when to maybe pick up on the frustration. You're right, and you'll want to maybe drop those hints. And you can easily drop a clue if somebody has like a rank in investigation or a rank in a specific knowledge. Just pull on it and have those ready. Because as you're answering these questions, that's one of the things that had mentioned here after this questions. It's like, as you answer the questions, create a clue for the PCs on how they can answer it. Answer that question too. That they can discover. And if you have information on the PC, what they have as far as knowledges go or whatever, throw some notes if you can on that. Like, hey, if they mention this, throw that out there. So, but yeah, definitely listen to your players, and you can steer them to point A to point B however you need to, or drop the clues when you need to. So, yeah, I love that.
All right. Well, I think we murdered the mystery. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, the pulp. Is it my turn to read this one? Okay. Pulp. Yes. Okay. Somehow, the professor managed to convince the university to send a team out to the midst of the Atlantic Ocean. Their old, rusty research vessel attested to the school's limited resources, the skeptical opinions of his preposterous theory. Everyone donned their clunky brass diving suit and descended into the deep. To their surprise, a light greeted them at the bottom. Many lights. A city. Atlantis was real. What's more, it was still alive. Bum-bum-bum. And a whole bunch of fish came around you, and a guy in green spandex. Yeah, this is it, man. This is the pulp. This is your high action tales. Your Flash Gordon going to
Indiana Jones.
I mean, when I was first reading this, the professor managed to convince the university. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go find the lost Ark of the Covenant. Right?
You call him Dr. Jones, lady.
No, you call him Dr. Jones doll. Short Round, man. He's great. He was also in Goonies, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, both great pulp movies. Goonies never die, man.
Nope.
Oh, by the way, somebody put a picture up there out on the internet somewhere. Might have been in a D&D group. I don't know. But they put a picture out there of like an outside of an island overlooking a cliff, and there's like a little island on a coast, and somebody said, write a paragraph, what kind of adventure can go there? And I said, 3 words, Goonies never die, period. That's it. Anyways.
That's awesome. So what's the key to pulp? What's the big allure to it? What gives something that pulpy feel?
Just action-packed adventures, just excitement and fun. Okay, that's probably like 3 things, but
big excitement.
Yep, big excitement. You know it.
Not a lot of character development. Your characters are usually 1 or 2 dimensional.
Yep.
Your motivations aren't going to come into play a lot in a pulp
not so much
environment. Maybe some of the obvious ones. If you have a weakness for blondes in a pulp setting, your GM should play on that.
Yes. That's good.
But one of the things you can do to give something a pulp feel, chases. Chases are an integral part. Think about every time. Think Raiders of the Lost Ark. How many chases are in that movie? You've got
Which
the
one?
opening.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm saying in that one movie, you've got the opening chase is right from the get go. He's solving the getting the idol, and then it's a chase.
That's right.
And then he's in Cairo, then it's a chase, and then he's in Tibet. There's so many chases in a pulp movie. In a pulp game, throw in chases.
Oh yeah.
What else?
So much more. I mean, you have your. I mean, they're serialized too, in a way, right? I mean, which I might be jumping to the end here, but when you think of like Flash Gordon or some of those other like older shows from that pulp era, they ended that week on a cliffhanger. Sons of bitches, you gotta wait a week, in order to see the end of it. And and it could be really any theme. I mean, you could do westerns, you could do crime drama.
You could do Cthulhu and pulp.
Yeah,
you can. The last in the themes in pulp can also focus on fighting strange, terrifying supernatural creatures. Obviously, this makes sense for a pairing of pulp and horror. However, a pulp horror game focuses less on the devastating psychological damage that these creatures cause and more on defeating them with dynamite and Tommy guns.
Kind of like Hellboy.
Very much so.
I mean, come on, that's pretty much it. Yeah. And this is interesting, though. Running the pulp-themed games. Mm-hmm. You'll want the characters to take risky actions.
Encourage it. Give them upgrades when they do it. This is a great way to encourage it without them spending a story point. They say they want to do something action-packed. Give them a free upgrade or give them a couple of boost dice. Make it cool factor.
Yes.
Give away dice.
The rule of cool. That's what I say every time we end the show, man. The rule of cool. It's fun. This is just out there awesome.
Now, there's certain tropes to these kinds of stories. Again, there's always a big burly bad guy. He's gonna want to get into a fist fight.
Yep.
Give that hero a fist fight. Zombies, if they're in this kind of story, they're going to be slow. They're going to be your classic zombie. What this means is in a pulp story, always play to the tropes.
Yes.
Let those assumptions fuel the game. Yep. Your criminal mastermind always monologues and gives away their plot.
Exactly. To give you just the right amount of time at the speed of plot for you to save the James Bond or whatever, right? 007 or something. Yeah, like we said there, it says they're serialized, broken up into sections, natural breaks in the action. Then you have the rules for the cliffhanger is pretty interesting, where you can leave them in a very dangerous situation, at the end of the adventure.
Right. Why don't we read it? Because it's important to read this one, I think.
I think so too. So it's like, if you may use this rule. It says at the end of the game session, that's not the end of the adventure or at the major encounter that's important to the story. But if they're left in like immediate peril at the end of the session, the beginning of the next session, put all the story points in the player pool. Okay? Which they're going to have mostly all the player points anyway, so just be one for the GM, right? So you put them over there. And let them narrate. Let them spend the story points and narrate ways how they escape.
Yeah, that's so very cool.
Isn't it, though?
By spending all of the points to immediately restore one or more dead or incapacitated characters, too. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, you just spend them all. Or you spend all the points immediately to narratively describe escaping the situation. Now all the story points are on the GM side, so now you have some to play with and give back to them. But yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
pretty cool.
That's it for the tones, folks. We're going to go on to setting the tone. Welcome to Setting the Tone. Just kidding. We just left you with a cliffhanger, folks. We're going to go on to covering romance and drama and continue our Books of Genesis segment.
Or setting the tone now.
Yeah, no, still the Books of Genesis. Just okay. it was a cliffhanger. It was false. I lied to you. I lied to Chris. Chris didn't pick it up in the show notes. So,
yeah, I see, but I do not observe, like my Uncle Sherlock.
All right, so let's see how this goes. Romance and drama. Mm-hmm. Commander Sinclair stormed into the ambassador's office, slamming the door behind him. "You cold-hearted bastard!" The ambassador sighed. "I had no choice, John. When you told me you'd be rotated back to the capital, I had to use your fleet's absence as leverage in the negotiations. I never wanted to hurt you." Sinclair leaned over the desk, teeth set and tears welling in his eyes. "Too late for that, Vance. What we had between us was... I thought it was special. But now, I'll remember your betrayal forever."
Tony,
it's a tearjerker.
It's a kind of a tearjerker, man.
It kind of pulls on my feels.
That's right. Got to pull on the heartstrings there. Yeah. But yeah, this is definitely this theme and tone of drama and romance. You can really pull the characters into the story and have them truly be connected to the setting, if you will, right? Personal involvement. When they come back to a town or come back to a place where they've made these relationships, romantic, whatever, and if those people are dead or if they're kidnapped or something, you got motivations right away there for an adventure and something that'll just really pull them in.
Yeah, it doesn't all have to be lovey-dovey.
No.
I used an example of I had a player playing a druid in a classic D-Shift 7D game, and their animal companion died.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
And they really wanted to play out that drama and that heartache, and they really wanted to, that player really bought into that. And so as a GM, I read that in the way they were playing their character, and so I went with it. Yeah. I listened. I went with it.
Yeah.
I designed an entire session around just that. The drama and the pain that their character was experiencing, and it made what was otherwise up until that point a pretty one-dimensional and boring character. It made that character very interesting to the other players, as well as made that player like this is one of my most memorable player characters now. I mean, they still tell me to this day, 20 years later, I still remember my druid.
That's good.
And that for me would be a moment where I took because that was a bond, whether it's there's love there between that druid and his animal companion, and having that love become the object of the whole session, and over a couple sessions actually,
cool.
really drew all the players into it. So.
Yeah, and it comes back to I can't remember where I heard this, but I've used this to create a couple of characters. I think I might have made it. I answered these questions when I created Kilzak for Rise of the Rune Lords. Have your players answer these three questions for their characters. What do I love? What do I hate? Why am I here? Right? I mean, that right there can start pulling in some hooks that you can pull on, some things you can, pull on for them.
That's a great way to get buy-in to any adventure, but that by having those answers as a player and as a GM, it allows you to handle these kinds of dramas
Yeah.
better. And by the way, that wasn't Killzak. That was Zszree that you did that.
Oh, that was Yuri?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember names. Yuri. Axeman. The axe in the back.
Yeah, and there was, a lot of drama in that particular adventure that you guys ran.
Yeah.
And you guys got a lot of buy-in to that. Mm-hmm. And that's what really is most important when it comes to drama and romance. It really requires player buy-in. If your players aren't into it, it's not going to work. No matter what it is you're doing.
Right.
If they're not into it, it's not going to work. Skip it, move on, try something else.
Mm-hmm. And think this when you're answering this, the themes, it says themes in romance and drama. This first sentence really kind of says a lot. Drama tends to focus on realistic conflicts and situations, though these can be adapted to fantasy and other fictional elements and such. And they have a nice list of things here, like courtroom dramas and such. Historical and alternate history stories can put them right in the heart of dramatic times and such. I ran a Day After Ragnarok campaign, a Savage Worlds campaign, where we had a posse of there was a Texas Ranger and his posse going after Nazis in like Central and South America, and they were like, Nazi hating and dramatic, and there's like kind of an alternate history there that we were pulling on, and I think I had done that thing where one of the characters did get kidnapped by the Nazis, and because the player wasn't there, and that's some dramatic, some drama there too that you put them in, some peril. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. And drama and romance can fit into any game. It's just you have to know where to put it in. Mm-hmm. A good example.
L5R. L5R is another very good.
Oh, great game for that. Mm-hmm. But I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was at.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, it's all right. I don't know where I was at anyway. I don't know where I was going with it. But one thing they do have here, they talk about romance tends to apply to subplots in a larger adventure. There's something else going on. The romance is usually secondary. Even when the romance is the focus of the story, there's always something else in the narrative. Playing strictly a romance game is not going to probably play it's going to play to a very small group. Mm-hmm. But throwing romance into any game can be fun. Daryl wanted to do that in the Star Wars, where he wanted a romantic kind of interest in one of the NPCs in my Star Wars campaign that's been going on for 2 years. And by noticing what your players want, when they start showing an interest in an NPC, don't just, let's turn this into a hookup. Maybe
make it real.
Yeah, make it kind of real. Make that kind of touch on that player's emotions a little bit if they can handle it, if they're ready for it. Mm-hmm. Let it play out, and turn it into a romantic interest. It's gonna give you plot hooks.
Yep. Yeah, it will. And one of the things here, this whole rule for this metagame maneuvering, this is fairly brilliant, to be honest. Because I have players, and we have players that the players know more than the actual character, but they still act as if the character doesn't have that knowledge. Brilliant. Those are one of some of the best moments come up. And it says, hey, why not take advantage of that? If a player character believes a lie or takes direct actions to do harm to themselves or others, but the player knows better, but if they still do it, it suggests here, take a story point from the GM pool and move it to the player pool. If they do something like that, right? I mean, it
encourages that behavior in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what it does,
and when
reinforces it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if they give themselves setback, it's like giving themselves setback dice too, right? Which we kind of do sometimes.
Yep. Nope, that works real well. Mm-hmm. So, if you have a party full of power gamers who don't want any ties and they're all murder hobos, this isn't going to work.
Probably not.
But But if you have someone who's going to get emotionally involved in their character, you should probably look at this tone.
Yep.
All right. I think that's it for tones.
I think so. I think our cliffhanger's over, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's move on.
All right. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Advantageous Threats. Yeah, we have plenty of time. It says time permitting here, but man, we have plenty of time.
Sure we do.
Yes, we do. Would you like to go first, sir?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
What do you got for us?
My character is named Vic Talon. Vic is a small super spy nocturnal flying mammal in a TMNT and Other Strangeness game.
Aw, super duper.
He's a bat.
Awesome.
He is power surfing. That's surfing with a jet ski type thing or something. I don't know. Power surfing sounds like
on a skateboard or on a surfboard. Maybe a skateboard.
It's a powered surfboard.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. All right.
At night in a storm.
Ooh.
And he's trying to infiltrate an island fortress belonging to the Foot Clan.
Nice.
So,
all right.
My GM has determined that this is probably a coordination check.
It feels like it. Yeah, I think coordination will do.
I have 2 ranks in coordination. I have 3 in agility. So I have a 2 yellow, 1 green pool.
Okay.
And I have a knack for it.
Sweet. Well, let's set some difficulty here. How fast are you moving?
I'm moving. I'm moving at a clip.
Are you doing are we talking speed 2, speed 3?
Oh, you power surfing? Probably speed 3.
Speed 3? All right. And what kind of handling does this have? Because I'm thinking we might have to do that. I mean, I'm thinking almost kind of a piloting check. I'm thinking it's going to be average, right?
Yeah.
But I think because of the speed you're going, and I think from the piloting rules or the rules there, it's an automatic upgrade. So it'll be a red and a purple.
So a powered surfboard sounds like something a super spy would have, but it's probably experimental tech, so it's probably not got great handling.
So maybe a -1.
Okay.
I would think. So maybe a setback die there. You'll also need a setback die because you're surfing at night.
I am a nocturnal flying mammal.
Doesn't matter.
That does not matter. I have echolocation.
You have echolocation. Oh, so you're going to use that instead of... So it'll basically cancel out the setback dice that I'll give you for being at night.
Yes.
In a storm because it's frickin' dark.
Yep. So in a storm.
Okay.
Now, how bad is the storm? Is that worth 1 or 2?
I think the storm... I'm almost thinking the storm might add a difficulty, though.
You tell me?
Yeah, let's increase the difficulty.
Okay.
Not upgrade, but increase. So it'll be 3 dice as a base with 1 automatic update. And then we'll do a black because of the handling, 2 setback dice because it's dark, but since you're nocturnal, you get rid of those automatically.
Nope, I take them out after they're all put in. That's what I'm trying to build my pool.
Yep, so the 3 black. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling good, man.
All right, so I'm nocturnal. I have echolocation. I'm going to take out 2 of the setback dice for that.
Okay.
And then I have a knack for it with coordination checks, so I may remove up to 2 more.
Sweet.
So I am currently looking at a 2 yellow, 1 green, 3 purple pool.
All right.
As a player, I need to get into this enemy base. So I am automatically... There is a need there, and I got a need for speed, and power surfing is cool. Yes, I'm upgrading my
power surfing at altitude is dangerous. So let's flip a story point and upgrade that one more time.
All right, so now my final pool, 3 yellow, 2 purple, 1 red.
No, Okay.
Oh, upgrading a second time? Sorry.
Well, automatically upgraded because of your speed that you were going.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, I have news. It's not good news. I have 4 failures net.
What the hell?
4 advantage.
Okay.
And a despair.
Oh, drink, motherfucker. Well then. So you were trying to make it to the island fortress. With your failures, you don't make it to the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to spend your advantage?
I maybe wash up on a beach a few miles away.
All right. And for your despair, you said this was a power surfboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Explodes.
Oh!
Kaboosh! It'll explode.
So maybe I was surfing along and I hit a reef because the waves are up and down, and I hit this
and
reef.
It flips you.
Flips me in the air. The surfboard explodes.
As it hits the rocks. Yeah.
I end up partially conscious, just float up onto a beach a few miles down the way. Maybe on a separate island, a different island.
I was thinking maybe you made it to the island you were supposed to get to. But you basically...
But now I have a ninja-infested jungle that I have to crawl through.
Pretty much, because they saw the explosion. And they're coming to investigate. Good luck, Vic. Woohoo!
The days of being a super spy are hard.
That's great.
I am Vic. I am the knight. Okay.
You're going to be playing that guy in Uncle J-Raz super game, aren't you?
Someday.
Someday, yep. And I hope someday to maybe play this guy. Dwayne Bloodfist is a dwarven necromancer. He's going to be casting a signature spell against Gorgol Ragemantle.
Oh.
And this signature spell is called Dwayne's Life-Leeching Necroblast of Despair.
He has to say that every time he casts it, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, like frickin' Epic Spell Wars. While he's holding his holy icon, which is like a big golden necklace with like a D on it. Okay?
Okay.
And Dwayne is going to drain. So you get it? Dwayne, drain, Dwayne. Anyways. He's got 3 ranks in divine spellcasting and willpower. And he's going to be using the curse magic action.
Okay.
To life leech. So it's going to start at 3 yellow, 2 purple, but he's going to be adding the despair effect for 2 more purple. And despair is a divine only effect which will reduce the target's strain threshold, not only the basic curse, right, which reduces increases the difficulty or whatever, increases the difficulty of checks, but it will reduce the strain and wound threshold of his target equal to his ranks in knowledge. But he has the blood sacrifice talent and 3 ranks in knowledge forbidden, where he can use ranks knowledge forbidden to do this.
Woof.
It's a signature spell, and he's using a holy icon with a divine only effect. So those 2 extra for adding the despair effect is canceled. So
gotcha.
3 yellow, 2 purple is where I'm at.
Okay.
Just start with.
Well, so this has got a hard-coded difficulty. So
it is.
However, I would think since Gorgo is he's a pretty formidable guy.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgo's in his were hyena form.
Oh,
which can be rather scary. So I want you to throw in a couple setback die.
All right.
For the huge towering were hyena that is charging towards Dwayne.
That's right. And Dwayne's a southern dwarf, by the way.
Nice.
All right.
And that's all I'm going to do thus far. Are you going to do anything?
Well, I'm gonna spend a story point.
Okay.
Because Dwayne he's being charged at by this were-hyena Gorgo.
Yep.
And
I think
he knows
there's
that
room for a
Gorgo,
triumph there.
and we know that Gorgo has this friend of his that is a nemesis of Dwayne, whether Kilzak knows it or not.
That's why I was gonna flip on my end.
Nice.
Because what Dwayne doesn't know is that this sneaky Kilzak is coming from behind.
There we go. Nice. All right. Here we go. We got 3 yellow, a green, a red, purple, and 2 black. Here we go. All right. Those cancel, those cancel, those cancel. We are left with a failure with 1 advantage.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts, man.
So
Yep.
the spell just kind of it hits the hyena, but he's just there's so much raging blood passing through his veins that
That's right.
Dwayne's spell can't take hold. What do you want to do with your advantage?
Well, with my advantage, I would kind of like to what would I want to do with an advantage? One
Hunker
advantage.
down.
Yeah, kind of take some cover as this big axe from Kilzak is gonna give him a nice little haircut.
So basically, you're just gonna hunker down and prepare for the charge of the were-hyena. But what it's gonna do is gonna give a setback die to the next player to act, which would be Kilzak.
Kilzak. Yep. Hey, maybe next time we'll get that attack. See how that goes. All right, man.
Wow, we're just a couple of failures.
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
But you're despairingly so. You make it so sad.
yeah. But yours was anticlimactic. I mean,
It
one
fairly
advantage.
was. 1 advantage.
So lame.
It was. But Dwayne's life-leeching necroblast of despair. Personally, everybody out there, my suggestion would be if anybody is playing the Magic rules in Genesis and you're can play the not safe for work games, go get Epic Spell Wars, go play it, make up voices for your spellcasters, play the game, then the next time you cast a signature spell when you're playing Genesis, remember this.
Very nice.
All right, everybody, that is our show for tonight. I'd like to give a huge shout out to the brewery done by Jamie Pearson out there. It's about random dorky stuff taking place. He's taking it back to the original Gathering of Dork days. And Tony just completed running Jamie, Daryl, and I through Android Shadow of the Beanstalk. Homebrewed adventure called 48 Hours Till Midnight. He just put up like a Star Wars Legion battle report, which I watched, completely confused because never played the game. But it was a battle report. It wasn't a how to play this game, but it was pretty cool. He has a Twitch channel and a YouTube channel that will just search for The Brewery. Yeah, so that Shadows of Beanstalk adventure, pretty fun, man. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be running, I think this month, we got a few more weeks, and he's going to be running us through Onslaught at Arda, right?
Yep. Jamie will be running us through Onslaught on Arda 1, Age of Rebellion. So, Star Wars.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Back to my favorite playground.
Oh, yeah.
And I get to be a player
Yeah.
for like the first time in 2 years.
Oh, whoa. Well, hopefully I'll change that as well, as I'll be running the Starfinder for you.
I'm kidding. I get to play a little a little more often than that, but not much.
Not much. No, you run some good games. But yeah, so we have we have Con on the Cob coming up October 3rd through the 6th. That's a Thursday through a Sunday. Nice intimate con. Probably 500 to 700 people. You know?
Yep, there's going to be 12 to 14 of us. We're Nerds International folks there. I don't think we're going to be like doing any huge events, but we'll have our own tables. We'll have our own games going on there. And if you come see us and you point out that you're a fan of our shows, we will try and make room for you in one of our games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to meet you guys. That'd be great. See you guys in person. So yeah, we'll be getting there when we're going to be getting there. I'll be getting there probably noon on Wednesday.
Same here.
Then
I'll be picking you up from the airport.
That's right. You and Sean will be, and we'll go get some nachos and indoctrinate Sean into the. Oh, wait a second. Does he listen to this?
No, he doesn't.
Okay,
but
good.
That's okay. Sean is my son who is coming along.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, looking forward to that. That'd be cool.
Yep.
And seeing everybody in person again.
Yeah, so all you guys out there at Gen Con right now, you have a few months before you can go to another con.
That's right.
If you spent your entire load at Gen Con, there's still Con on the Cob, and it's not far away.
That's right. It's not too. Yeah, it's like Cleveland area. It's a little further away from it's near. That's near Indianapolis, kind of.
Sure. That's like 5 hours away.
Yeah, you got to drive on those shitty Indiana roads, man. Jeez Christ, man. This past weekend, driving there. Worst freaking roads in America, thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, I must say, I have something against our federally paid for interstates having fucking tolls on them. Fuck you, Chicago. Fuck you, what do you call it? Toll roads in Indianapolis and the Indiana Toll Road and the Pennsylvania Turnpike, the Ohio Turnpike. Whatever. Sorry, I'm back now.
You okay there, buddy?
Yes. Totally fine.
Eat a cookie.
Yes.
Alrighty. Folks, you can get a hold of us. Send us an email. Tell Chris how you feel about the Federal Road Commission at findingthenarrativepodcast at gmail.com. You can come over on Facebook, talk to me and Stefan. We'll pass it on to Chris.
That's intrigue there, baby. That's political intrigue right there.
Finding the Narrative on Facebook. Nerds International and Finding the Narrative are both on MeWe. Stefan is over on Twitter with @FTN_Genesys. And he'll gladly share anything that he gets over there with Chris and I. And finally, you can tell your friends and family to listen to us. Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRADIO. We'll find somewhere else that we're not on. We'll add to it, I'm sure.
Sure.
Because we want to be everywhere like Savoir Faire.
Why not?
Hey, that's my name backwards. So this is Tony saying, keep rolling the phone.
And this is Chris saying, remember the rule of cool and just have fun, everybody. Night.
See ya.
Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast, is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned in this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or appear on our website are the property and copyright of their respected owners. All items are used under fair use and educational and review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast. Copyright 2019, all rights reserved.